kiamat tidak akan terjadi sampai Gunung Emas muncul di Sungai Furat. Gunung Emas ini akan muncul karena air sungai surut. Dan saat itu terjadi, manusia akan saling berebut emas tersebut. Pertempuran ini akan sangat dahsyat. Dengan 99 dari 100 orang yang terbunuh, hanya satu yang hidup. Nabi SAW memperingatkan umat Islam untuk tidak tergoda oleh emas ini. Para sahabat kemudian bertanya, lalu kemudian kenapa masih ada umat Islam yang memperebutkannya pada saat itu? Kata Rasulullah, karena dia berharap menjadi yang satu tadi. Seketika nilai emas akan langsung hilang pada saat itu, karena begitu banyak orang yang terbunuh. Beliau juga menceritakan kisah seorang pencuri yang tangannya dipotong karena mencuri emas, melintasi gunung tersebut. Pencuri itu kemudian mengutuk emas tersebut karena telah menyebabkan tangannya terpotong dan meninggalkan gunung tersebut.
Ketika mengeringnya Sungai Al-Furat, Sungai Eufrat, Sungai Furat, kemudian dia memunculkan gunung emas. Disebutkan dalam hadis Rasulullah SAW dari Abu Hurairah, beliau alaihi salatu wasallam bersabda, "La taqumu sa'atu hatta yahsir al-furatu an jabalin min dhahab." Tidak akan terjadi hari kiamat sampai nanti Sungai Eufrat itu akan mengering dan memunculkan gunung emas. Yaqtatilun nasu alaihi. Manusia kemudian saling berperang memperebutkan gunung emas tersebut. Fayuqtanu min kulli mi'atin tis'atun wa tis'una. Ada 100 orang yang berperang, 99 tewas. Wa yaqulu kullu rajulin minhum. Kemudian setiap laki-laki yang 100 yang berperang ini, mereka mengatakan, la'alli akunu ana alladhi anju. Boleh jadi satu orang laki-laki yang selamat, boleh jadi aku ini orangnya. Bayangkan manusia begitu tamaknya di akhir zaman, sampai-sampai mereka berani mengambil resiko yang luar biasa. 1 banding 99 tewas semua, hanya satu yang akan bertahan hidup. 100 orang ini masing-masing mereka mengatakan boleh jadi saya yang satu itu. Ini hadisnya sahih, diriwayatkan oleh Bukhari dan Muslim. Ada yang menarik dari hadis ini, salah seorang perawi yang bernama Suhail bin Abi Saleh, dia salah seorang perawi hadis ini. Bapaknya menasihati, in ra'aitahu fala taqrabanna. Kalau engkau mengalami zaman tersebut, engkau melihat Sungai Eufrat itu memunculkan gunung emas, jangan sekali-kali dekat wahai anakku. Ini nasihat dari bapaknya. Ini sekaligus dalil yang menunjukkan bahwasanya para salaf, teladan kita, panutan kita, mereka adalah orang-orang yang berupaya untuk menjauhi fitnah. Ini adalah termasuk salah satu fitnah terbesar umat ini, yaitu fitnah harta. Gunung emas diperebutkan. Bahkan mereka tidak peduli. Ada resiko mereka akan mati dan tidak mendapatkan emas tersebut. Namun mereka tidak peduli. Saking tamaknya manusia di akhir zaman. Namun prinsip yang diajarkan kepada kita adalah jauhi fitnah. Jauhi. Kalau mau selamat, jauhi fitnah.
Dari Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu, Rasulullah Shallallahu alaihi wasallam bersabda, kiamat tidak akan terjadi sampai Al-Furat mengering sehingga muncullah gunung emas. Manusia pun saling bunuh untuk memperebutkannya. Dari setiap 100 orang yang memperebutkannya, terbunuhlah 99 orang. Setiap orang dari mereka mengatakan, mudah-mudahan akulah orang yang selamat. Hai Muslim. Sungai Eufrat akan menyebabkan harta karun dari emas. Maka barang siapa yang hadir di situ, janganlah ia mengambil sesuatu pun darinya. Hai Bukhari dan Muslim. Hadis-hadis ini menunjukkan bahwa gunung emas di Sungai Eufrat adalah suatu peristiwa yang akan terjadi sebelum kiamat dan akan menjadi fitnah bagi manusia yang rakus dan lalai. Oleh karena itu, kita harus berhati-hati dan tidak tergoda oleh harta dunia yang fana.
What's beneath the Euphrates River? There's quite a lot of prophecies and stories surrounding this river drying up. Christianity, Islam, and ancient Babylon all have connections to this river and what's underneath it. Christianity and Islam both teach that this river will dry up. And there's an ancient legend that Babylon had a tunnel under the Euphrates that connected the two halves of the city of Babylon in Mesopotamia. I'll explain each of these in more detail. Prophecy within Christianity teaches that during the end times, the Euphrates River will dry up. Close to 2,000 years ago, written in 95 AD, the book of Revelation gives us two prophecies about the Euphrates River. The first is Revelation 9:13 through 15. And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar which is before God, saying to the six angels which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the third part of men. This is in reference to the end times battles going on in that time. The next prophecy about the Euphrates tells us that it will be dried up, which is amazing because we are seeing the beginning stages of this happen right now, as different nations dam up the river, and the regions surrounding the river are dealing with horrible droughts. Revelation 16:12. Then the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and it was dried up, so that the way of the kings from the east might be prepared. Also worth noting, the Euphrates River was also mentioned in the first book of the Bible, Genesis. According to Genesis 2:14, a river named Euphrates is one of the 4 rivers that flow from the Garden of Eden. The other 3 rivers are Pishon, Gihon, and the Tigris. The book of Genesis was written 3,050 years ago, around 1065 to 1050 BC. Islam also teaches that the Euphrates River will dry up. Written 600 years after the book of Revelation, the Quran mentions the Euphrates drying up and a mountain of gold being revealed. Bukhari 7119. The hour will not come to pass before the river Euphrates dries up to reveal the mountain of gold, for which people will struggle, and 99 out of every 100 people will die in the conflict. The Prophet Muhammad said, "Every guy among them will think to himself, perhaps I'm the only one who's still living." So what's the timeline for the Euphrates River to be completely dried up? Of course, no one knows for sure, but it's predicted that Iraq's 2 major rivers, the Euphrates and the Tigris, could go entirely dry within 2 decades unless action is taken, according to a report by the country's water ministry. Iraq will be a nation without rivers by 2040, according to the headlines in the local media. The Euphrates Tunnel, said to have been built between 2180 and 2160 BC, the tunnel was said to connect 2 palaces on each side of the Euphrates River. The location of this tunnel still isn't known today, but it's been documented in 2 different books written in 50 BC and 250 AD. I'll quote both of these writings. Description of the tunnel as being built and used by Queen Semiramis is given by Diodorus in 50 BC in the Bibliotheca Historica. Quote, "This piece of work being finished in 260 days, the river was turned into its ancient channel again, so that the river flowing over the whole work, Semiramis could go from one palace to the other without passing over the river. She made likewise 2 brazen gates at either end of the vault, which continued to the time of the Persian Empire." End quote. And Philostratus in 250 AD also describes the tunnel's construction in the life of Apollonius of Tyana, book I-25. Quote, "And Babylon, it is cut under the river Euphrates into halves of similar shape, and there passes underneath the river an extraordinary bridge, which joins together by the unseen passage the palaces on either bank. For it is said that a woman, Medea, was formerly queen of those parts, who spanned the river underneath in a manner in which no river was ever bridged before. For she got stones, it is said, and copper and pitch, and all the men have discovered for use in masonry underwater, and she piled these up along the banks of the river. Then she diverted the stream into lakes, and as soon as the river was dry, she dug down 2 fathoms and made a hollow tunnel, which she caused to debauch into the palaces on either side of the bank like a subterranean grotto. And she roofed it on a level with the bed of the stream. The foundation were thus made stable, and also the walls of the tunnel. But as the pitch required water in order to set as hard as stone, the Euphrates was let in again on the roof while still soft, and so the junction stood solid." End quote. This river has a long and interesting history, and will play a key role in the final days before Christ's return. Keeping an eye on this river will be a good way to know the times and the seasons that we're heading into in relation to the last days. It's interesting to see how much of the surrounding region had supernatural ties to the Euphrates River. The Assyrian river deity was named Euphrates and lived in Western Asia and was known as the god of the rivers in modern-day Turkey and Iraq. From the Bible to Babylon, the Euphrates has been a major part of Earth's history and will continue to. Its drying up proves Bible prophecy is happening right now during our lives. Since up to this point, every other Bible prophecy has come to pass, it's important to watch for the ones that have yet to be fulfilled, which every day more and more are moving to their fulfillment.